I'm Zarina Matcha, and you are watching Non-Feminist Gal. Casual sex is one of those areas of life where women are often presented with two extremes. On the one side, we have people saying casual sex is so terrible, hookup culture is destroying society, having one-night stands is psychologically heartbreaking for women, and on the other side, there are people who say, go out and have casual sex, there are no consequences, women can and should sleep around like men, we're all the same, yada yada yada. As someone who does have a fair amount of experience with this, I feel that I can present a balanced viewpoint of casual sex in a way that doesn't say that it's 100% awful or 100% rosy and straightforward. As always, my perspective is coming from the point of view of a secular, liberal, non-feminist, and heterosexual woman. To clarify, when I say casual sex, I mean sex outside of an exclusive, monogamous dating relationship. Casual sex, like most things, has little to actually do with feminism. The sexual revolution was marked by the rise of contraception, which was invented by a team of scientists, as well as changing social attitudes towards sex. In socially liberal cultures, sex outside of marriage is more acceptable, whereas in socially conservative, usually religious cultures, sex outside of marriage is shameful for both men and women, although usually more so for women. Contrary to popular belief, monogamy is actually a rather new phenomenon within the scope of human history. Humans are wired to have multiple sexual partners. This is especially true for men, who are naturally wired to mate with as many women as possible to create many children. However, it's also true for women in the form of hypergamy, as women are wired to mate with the strongest males to ensure that children gain a variety of strong genes. In early tribal societies, monogamy made no sense because humans needed to mate and reproduce fast. If they were monogamous, this would have led to incest, which, as we know, creates genetic abnormalities. It served women's evolutionary interest to have multiple partners, or at least multiple options, in case one man became ill or another man was a stronger, better provider for the offspring. If a woman had children with multiple males, those children would be getting a variety of genes. Due to the tribal and communal nature of early societies, this served us well, ensuring that humans were procreating and spreading quite quickly. Obviously, over time, enough people did come to exist, and inevitably the human population flourished. As humans moved from our tribal, hunter-gatherer age into our agrarian age with the rise of agriculture and domestication of plants, monogamy became promoted as the standard to slow down the ever-growing surplus of the human population. This is pretty logical, as if the planet was too overcrowded, there would be too many people and not enough resources for everyone to go around. In the days before contraception, ensuring sexual monogamy was a logical way to prevent this. Patrilineage also ensured that when a woman had a child, everyone knew who the father was, hence why the child was given the father's name, as previously many tribal societies were in fact matrilineal. This was simply society moving from a tribal model into the nuclear family model for the good of human survival, nothing more than social evolution. Unfortunately, the Abrahamic religions created the idea of associating sex with personal virtue. This is where ideas around sexual purity and chastity until marriage became invented. Before this, it was simply viewed as a practicality, but the connotations of associating sex with morality were heavily emphasized by religion. This is especially the case for homosexual sex between men, as we know in ancient Greece and other societies, homosexuality between men was not condemned in the way that it is in Abrahamic societies. In my opinion, and doubtlessly many others, this mentality is extremely harmful, as it has led to views around masturbation and homosexuality being sinful and led to stereotypes of women being either virtuous wives or dirty whores, when in reality most women are a mix of the two. Ancient goddesses in Hindu, Greek, and Egyptian mythology were sensual and feminine, and the female body was often naked, but these women were not viewed as whores, nor was their virtue tied to their sexuality. The concept of female virginity in ancient Greece was not associated with purity, it was associated with feminine strength, agency, and independence. A virgin was just a name for a young, unmarried woman, but the Abrahamic religions came to equate virginity with sexual purity and morality, and used fear-mongering to tell people that if they engaged in premarital sex, homosexual sex, or masturbation, they would burn in the fires of hell. I think it's important for people to understand this, to get the context and see how contemporary ideas around sex have come about. Even though modern Western society is now very liberal around sex, there is still a cultural hangover from the older ideas of sex being associated with personal virtue. This is why some still view highly sexual women as sluts or view homosexual sex between two men as disgusting. It mainly comes from religion, specifically the Abrahamic religions. There is really nothing disgusting about sex. It is the most normal, natural thing in the world. Personally, I do not think that one's sexual preferences are a mark of personal virtue, with the exception of things like rape and pedophilia. I don't think that one's moral character is defined or should be defined based on how few or many consensual partners they have had. But unfortunately, many people do still think like this, and it's largely due to centuries of Abrahamic religious indoctrination. Casual sex can be a source of fun, pleasure, and experimentation for a lot of women. Some women don't have the time for a monogamous romantic relationship if they are prioritizing their careers, education, or personal development. For women with high sex drives, the need for sex is still there. Finding a compatible romantic partner is not an easy thing. It's easy to assume that it is, but the reality is that it often isn't, especially when people are young and still not fully emotionally mature. Many people remain in unhealthy or toxic romantic relationships when they're young for the sake of not wanting to be alone. Thus, if a woman is very sexual and wants to have sex without the pressures that come with romantic commitment, I say, go for it. Experimenting sexually with various partners or having the odd one-night stand on the weekend can be a thrill. It's an adrenaline rush, it's exciting. It's normal for people when they're young to want to experiment and have fun. There's absolutely no shame in wanting or desiring sex. If you want to have sex and you're not in a relationship, then you should go out and do it. And it's very easy for women to do this as well for multiple reasons. Having multiple sexual partners can reduce sexual anxiety and sexual hang-ups and lead to increased sexual confidence. It can make one feel more relaxed in themselves and also figure out what they do and don't like in the bedroom. It can make women feel like they have more control and more sexual agency. In that sense, it can certainly be empowering, especially after centuries of Christianity pushing puritanical ideas of sexual restraint and chastity onto women. There is a downside to casual sex that I don't think that enough people talk about, and it is this. No matter how free-spirited, wild, sexually adventurous, and promiscuous you are as a woman, you are still a woman. Women and men are not the same. Even promiscuous women or highly sexual women are still more selective about their sexual partners compared to men. Women are far more likely to reject men for sex than men are to reject women for sex. Even a woman who has a high sex drive and loves sex. Even a woman who enjoys casual sex still only wants to have sex with certain types of men. Men who display emotional resilience, confidence, are in good physical shape, and so on. This is based on our innate hypergamous wiring. Even if a woman is only looking for a one-night stand, her hypergamous wiring pushes her to look for men who are confident and masculine in a positive sense, as opposed to emotionally weak and insecure. This is why we have an unfortunate modern crisis of incels, men who are unable to get laid or get a girlfriend due to not knowing how to tap into their positive masculine energy. In my opinion, controversial as this may sound, most women can't and don't really enjoy or desire casual sex. Without using any hard data, I would personally estimate about 30 to 40% of women at most do genuinely enjoy casual sex. This is because women are fundamentally driven by emotion. Women are wired to associate sex with love, even though sex and love are not really the same thing. Romantic attraction and sexual attraction are two separate things, which is why asexuals exist. Men typically find it easier to separate romantic attraction from sexual attraction, and for many women, this does simply not come as easily. I know many people may say that me saying this is sexist, but I don't think that it's sexist to say that men and women are fundamentally different on some levels. Even though women can benefit from having multiple sexual partners, or at least sexual options from an evolutionary standpoint, this isn't necessarily to the same extent as men. Even the most hypersexual woman will never match the sex drive of a man. Sex for women is typically a bigger deal than it is for a man, because for a woman, something is entering our body. Our bodies are different. This is why women are more likely to get psychologically and emotionally hurt from casual sex than men are. Don't get me wrong, plenty of men don't enjoy casual sex either, and men can and do feel hurt and used from casual sex. I do think there's an unhealthy and inaccurate assumption that all men desire no strings attached emotionless sex. The majority of people would prefer to have sex in the context of a romantic relationship, but some people either don't have the time or can't find someone they want to be in a committed relationship with. I do think that women who get more emotionally attached to men easily, women who have lower sex drives, women who are not comfortable with the idea of sleeping with someone they're not romantically committed to, should absolutely not have casual sex. These women are the ones who will get hurt from casual sex. If deep down you know you are the type of woman for whom casual sex, one-night stands, hookups and the like would bring pain and heartache rather than fun and freedom, then please do not do it. Do not go there. Please do not allow yourself to feel coerced into having casual sex if you are not able to psychologically handle it, because it will cause you pain and emotional distress. In order for a woman to truly enjoy casual sex, her desire for sex must override her desire for emotional commitment. If your sexual desire surpasses your emotional desire, then casual sex will fulfill that need and will be a source of pleasure. But if your emotional needs are stronger than your sexual needs, as it is for, I would say, roughly 60 to 70% of women, then casual sex will hurt you. I personally have never regretted a casual sexual encounter, and I don't believe that one should live their life with regrets. I think it's better to live with the choices that you have made and continue on your life path. No woman should ever feel ashamed for desiring casual sex, nor should she feel ashamed for not desiring casual sex. Everyone is different. Oxytocin, known as the bonding hormone, is greater in women than in men, and is what makes women feel a temporary bond to a man after sex. Emphasis on the word temporary. This is why women often like to cuddle after sex, although in my experience men are the same. I think most people just like physical affection. Why would you have sex with someone and then crawl away from them to the other side of the bed? That's not a very human response, and has literally never happened to me. People at least put their arm around you. A lot of women might wonder, do men care about how many people you have had sex with? The answer to that question is, of course, some men, arguably a lot of men care, and some women care. Some people care and some people don't. But you will never be able to control other people's perceptions of you. We can't control or change what others do or don't think of us. It's a waste of time, in my opinion, worrying about body counts and the like, because you can't dictate how others see you. And what do you care what a bunch of people who don't even know you think of you? It's better to focus on yourself and what you actually want. You can't live your life worrying about what so-and-so is going to think. Instead, you should learn to be comfortable with your life choices and do what makes you happy. If you want to be single and sleep around, go for it. You'll either hate it or you'll have a blast. But you have to do it in order to find out. Just please use protection and test regularly. You don't want to be spreading STDs. I am a strong advocate of birth control, and I don't support abortion being used as a form of birth control. I think that women and men who are promiscuous without using condoms or some form of contraception are extremely reckless, and that's not something I agree with or support whatsoever. Overall, I don't think that sex should be a measure of personal virtue, and I do think that it's sad that it's still seen that way in certain parts of the world, especially for women. I put this down to religion, not patriarchy, which is where I am in disagreement with feminists. I also think that women need to understand that we're not the same as men, and that many women aren't really wired to have emotionally detached sex with lots of men. Sex and the City, one of my favorite TV shows, is literally about how when women try to be independent and emotionally detached, like men, this inevitably fails, and all four of them end up in loving monogamous relationships in the end. This is because, whether feminism wants to admit it or not, in the long term, most women would rather be in a committed, loving relationship, be it open, monogamous, or polyamorous, with someone they are emotionally involved with, rather than sleeping around with a bunch of guys they don't much care about, and vice versa. That's not to say that that is necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that overall, women would prefer to be in romantic relationships. And I would say the same is probably true for men. I think most people, casual sex is probably something they go through when they're young as a kind of phase, but people do typically grow out of it when they get older. But what do you think? Do you agree with my view on casual sex? Do you think that casual sex is bad for women, great for women, or something in between? Let me know below. Thank you for watching. For further discussion, consider joining my Facebook group Liberals Against Feminism below.